Hello guys, what's going on? Today I'm gonna be reviewing this book here. This is the treatise on political economy by Baptiste Say. Did you like my French pronunciation? Anyways, excellent book, very beautiful book, let's call it that way. And it's probably, regarding context of course, taking context in consideration, in my top 3 best books on economics that I've ever read in my life. I'm literally in love with this guy, as Rothbard was. And, I'm gonna be talking a little bit about it. I'm gonna try to be not that prolix, that I'm prolix. I'm gonna try to be more straight, direct, just as, he was. But anyways, I'm wearing this cap because my hair is a mess, total mess, I need to cut it. But I'm broke now, so I'm gonna have to wait a little longer. So I'm wearing this beautiful Fjallraven cap that my parents and my brother gave it to me because of my birthday. It was probably one of the best gifts that I've ever received because it was totally unexpected. So yeah, I'm gonna be wearing it today. So Jean-Baptiste Say, this book is so crazy because he wrote it in the early 1800s, not early 1800s, like 1820s, almost like the first quarter of the 19th century. But it looks like it was written by some Austrian libertarian in the 21st century. It's so well written. It's not like elegantly written. It's like straight, simple, direct, very clear. And Rothbard says that that's maybe why he became a little bit overlooked, set aside, because it's so simple, and sometimes people want obscure things because obscure things looks deep, and if I'm not understanding, so it might be something truthful and complex, but not necessarily. A lot of things in economics are actually pretty simple, and says talk in these terms, which is very interesting. And I think that I met Seth through, Seth's law, which is, his most famous contribution for the economic. I after reading this book, I changed my mind, and even because, the Seth's law, as we know, is kind of a perversion of what he wrote here. I'm gonna talk a little bit about it. But anyways, I met him through Say's law, or law of Say. I don't know how you guys say in English. And through Murray Rothbard, in his book Classical Economics, with which he talks about the history of the economic thought through the lens of the Austrian School of Economics. And he talks so well about him. He has a chapter in his book only for Jean-Baptiste Say. So that's very nice, very interesting. And yeah, he deserves that. As I said, he's a bit overlooked, but a lot of his ideas, it's some ideas that are pillars from the science of economics, and which he calls here political economy, And as I tweeted in my Twitter, I think the main 3 ideas that he has, which are like pillars of the economic thought, is the more subjective approach to value. Sometimes he mistakes value with price, and he still has this notion that value is related, is connected to the cost of production. But anyways, he has this more subjective approach to it. The importance of the importance of savings in the formation of wealth. He talks about that extensively. This idea permeates. Is that how I pronounce this word? Permeates. I'm sorry, but it's present in the whole book, in every single topic that he talks about. The notion that a state, I'm sorry, before that, the notion of the existence of immutable laws in economics, just like the law of physics. You cannot ignore the law of economics. That's what he says here. Sorry for the joke, you know. And least but not important, and for me it's the highlight of the book, is how the state, the role of the state in the economics, in the economy, is almost all the time bad, you know. And he describes, I think for me that's the highlight of this book, you know, how he describes again in a very precise, clear, direct, systematic, charming way, how the state can, you know, make the life, make economy bad and make the life of people harder with its interventions, you know. And the way he describes the, you know, the different kinds of interventions and the different kinds of, you know, artificial and bad arrangements that the state made impact economics, it's very good. For me, it's the best thing about the book, you know. It's the best thing, you know. How different kinds of taxes influences the economy, you know, income tax, tax over land, tax over consume, taxes over I forgot the name, you know, when you know someone dies and let his or her wealth to his or her children or wife or husband, you know, the tax over this transaction, this transference, you know, which for me is probably the worst kind of tax in the planet. And he talks about the how this tax badly influences the economy and the accumulation of wealth, you know how it privates the whole society with the you know, the value that, you know, it must be given to the government, for example. And yeah, so for me that's the best thing about the book, his description of how the state is bad for the economy. It's very, very good, and he uses a lot of historical examples. I don't agree with all the examples that he shows, you know, because, you know, that's early 1800s, as I said, not early, but the first quarter of the 1800s. And so a lot of things were, so like, this is a 200-year book, so a lot of things were better understood, a lot of things were well developed, you know, by Bombavec, by Hayek, by Mises, by Rothbard. But you know, he set the pitch, you know, he set the topics of the conversation in a very clear way. And, you know, like, he's not a marginalist, for example, but you can see, like, the beginning, you know, he almost got there. He has this notion. He's not a, he doesn't have this notion, but it's like the beginning, you know. If he had gone a little bit more farther, I'm sorry, if he had gone a little bit more far, he would probably arrive at the marginal theory, you know. But I remember one time he says, like, when the prices drop because when the cost of production is, you know, reduced, more people can now buy this product, you know, buy this good. So that's, you know, that's the marginal theory, not systematically or formalized, but it's the notion, you know, this notion that some people were not able to buy this good, and now that the price is reduced, these people that couldn't buy because they were, you know, like, below the price level, now they can, you know, now they're part of that, you know. So yes, he has this notion, but he doesn't go that far. And another interesting thing that's, you know, a very complex phenomena, I think that's a phenomena, that's how you would say. It's regarding how capital receives its income through the productive process. That's a very complicated topic, you know. When I've read that in Prices and Production, of course it's way more complex and way more deep than it's shown here, but it's nice to see that he has this notion, you know, how, you know, the landlord and the capitalist and the laborer, the operary, you know, the worker, the landlord, the capitalist or the entrepreneur, the industrialist, the retailer and the worker, how these people are receives its income. They have different kinds of income. He develops over that better than Adam Smith, from what I've read about Adam Smith. What else? A very subject thing, but it's very important, how he divide the profit of the entrepreneur in capital interest and the salary of the manager, let's call it that way, which is the pure talent of the entrepreneur in the business, which is different from the interest from the capital, which is something more mathematical, let's say that way, let's call it that way, which is was then better developed by Bonvavek and Mises and Hayek, but especially Bonvavek in his theory of capital. So yeah, that's as I said, a lot of interesting things, and he explains in a very clear way. It's a very clear way. Sometimes it's a little bit too simple, because that's the early stages of the science of economics, but it's still very good, very, very good. Regarding if we take context in consideration, it's insane. It's insane. And the last thing that I must talk is about the Says law. The Says law was badly, wrongly understood by John Maynard Keynes as if the supply induces demand. And they use this thought to defend defend inflation, basically, and inflation as a mean of expanding aggregate demand. But that's not what Says talks here at all. That's I tried to read this book with when I were reading about the phenomena of production with some Keynesian lens, and I just couldn't. But the Says law doesn't says that supply induces demand. What he says is that every demand, every consume must be must happen before. Must happen after a production process. So that means that. So this means that consume comes always, every single time after production. Always. So you cannot have like general super production. That doesn't make any sense at all. How in the hell an economy would produce way too much of everything? That's like the Garden of Eden. That's impossible. What happens is you have super production, overproduction. I'm sorry, because superprodução is how we call it in Portuguese. So you have overproduction in some sectors, and I don't remember exactly if he talks about it, but I think he does. In the capital goods sector, capital goods, lands. If we're talking about the 1819 crisis, lands. If we're talking about capital goods, overproduction, the crisis of 1929. If we're talking about houses, the house market. How do you guys say it? Mobile market? No, the house market. I forgot the term. 2008. So what we have is this overproduction in these specific sectors, and as I said, I think it talks about this very hard goods, this goods that takes too long to be produced, and underproduction, under supply of some other goods, especially consumer goods, or to put in Hayek's words, Hayek's rough word, and Mises' word, goods that are more are closer to the final consumer, to the final client. Let's say that way. So that says law. That says law. Every consume comes every single time after production. Always. Always, 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 always. If you consume, it's because you produced something before. Always, 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 always. So you cannot have a production inducing consume per se. That's impossible, you know. Because in order for people to consume these goods that were produced, they must produce beforehand. So that's Say's law. But anyways, that was it. 15-minute long video. I'm sorry. I hope you enjoyed. I'm sorry for my English is a bit rusty. You know, that's my third attempt to record this video, and I think now it's good. But anyways, feel free to leave your comment on the comment section. And yeah, that's it. Bye bye. God bless you.